If you had told me 2 months ago that a road trip with my best friend would completely change the way I saw him and us, I would have laughed in your face. But here I am, sitting in my apartment, replaying everything that happened like it's a movie I can't stop watching. It all started when my best friend Tyler suggested we take a road trip before summer ended. We'd been friends since freshman year of college, 4 years of gaming marathons, wingman duty at bars, late-night ramen, and everything in between. Tyler was one of those guys who was effortlessly cool without trying. Messy brown hair, a killer smile, the kind of athletic build that came from years of soccer, not the gym. And yeah, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about him like that before. But Tyler was straight. Completely, maddeningly, frustratingly straight. At least, that's what I believed. The plan was simple. A week-long trip up the coast. Just the two of us. Some cheap motels, hikes, beach stops, and greasy diners. No plans. No obligations. Just the open road. The first 2 days were chill. We laughed, argued over playlists, made dumb jokes. It felt like any other time we hung out, except for the fact that we were sharing motel rooms every night. 2 beds. Close enough that I could hear his breathing once the lights were off. Close enough that my brain kept betraying me with what-if scenarios. But I told myself it was fine. It was just Tyler. Nothing would ever happen. And then, it did. It was the 3rd night. We'd stopped at this tiny beach town. Population, maybe a few hundred people. Our motel was this old creaky place right by the water, the kind of spot that smelled like salt and mildew but had a weird charm to it. We'd spent the afternoon hiking, and by the time we got back, we were both beat. Tyler flopped onto his bed with a groan, shirt riding up just enough for me to catch a glimpse of skin before I forced myself to look away. "Dude," he groaned, stretching. "Why do we always convince ourselves hiking is fun?" Because it is fun. Until it's not. I laughed, tossing my backpack onto the floor. "Fair," he grinned. We ordered pizza, watched some dumb action movie on the ancient TV, and by midnight, we were both lying in our beds, the room lit only by the streetlight seeping through the curtains. And then Tyler broke the silence. "Hey," he said, voice quieter than usual. "Yeah? You ever think about how weird it is that we've never, talked about, you know?" My heart stopped. "Talked about what?" He shifted on his bed. "About you being gay. I mean, I know, obviously, but we've never really talked about it." I blinked into the dark. "I mean, yeah, guess not. Just figured you didn't care." "I don't," he said quickly. "I mean, I do, but not in a bad way, you know?" "Yeah," I murmured, pulse starting to race. "I know." Silence. Thick. Heavy. Then he added, almost too soft to hear, "You ever thought about me? Like that?" It felt like the air got sucked out of the room. My stomach flipped, hands going clammy. I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Why are you asking me that?" I finally managed, my voice shaky. Tyler didn't answer right away. I heard him sit up, the old mattress squeaking under his weight. Then his voice, closer now, just wondering. The next thing I knew, I felt the bed dip. Not his bed, my bed. Tyler was sitting on the edge of it. I don't get it," I stammered. "What are you doing?" He scratched the back of his neck, eyes darting away. "I don't know, man. I was lying there thinking, and I keep wondering what it'd be like. Why does it have to be such a big deal, you know?" My mouth went dry. "Ty, I mean, you've always been there for me. And I trust you more than anyone. And I guess I started thinking, like, maybe it's not that weird to be curious, right? I couldn't breathe. I genuinely forgot how to breathe. You're serious? I finally croaked. Tyler's eyes flicked back to mine, and in that moment, there was something there I'd never seen before. Nerves. Vulnerability. Maybe something more. Yeah, he said quietly. I'm serious. I didn't move. I couldn't. My entire body felt like it was buzzing. Like every nerve was suddenly on high alert. Tyler. My straight best friend Tyler was sitting on my bed looking at me like he was waiting for me to say something. Or do something. Or I don't even know. I sat up slowly, propping myself on my elbows. Tyler, I don't want to misread this. He laughed, but it was nervous, nothing like his usual cocky grin. Yeah, me neither. We stared at each other in the half-dark. The only sound was the occasional crash of waves outside and the hum of the motel air conditioner that definitely wasn't doing its job. Then he sighed, running a hand through his messy hair. Look, I don't even know what I'm doing. I've never even thought about anyone like that. Not seriously. I swallowed. Okay, but I don't know, dude. You're you. You've always been safe, easy to be around, and lately it's been different. I notice stuff, like how your eyes crinkle when you laugh, or how you chew your pen when you're concentrating. Dumb stuff. My chest tightened. You noticed that? Yeah, he admitted, looking down at his hands. And then tonight, I was lying there thinking, why do I care so much? Why does it feel like more? I sat all the way up, legs crossed, hands fidgeting in my lap. Ty, that's not nothing, but I don't want to be some experiment for you, you know? I care about you too much for that. His head snapped up. It's not like that. I swear, I wouldn't do that to you. Then what is this? I asked, my voice smaller than I meant it to be. Tyler bit his lip, a little nervous habit I'd never really noticed until now. I don't know. I keep thinking about, what it would be like to, I don't know, be close to you, not just as friends. My heart hammered so hard I thought it was going to burst out of my chest. Tyler, I whispered, and then he reached for me, slowly, carefully, like he was testing the waters, unsure if I'd pull back. His fingers brushed mine, tentative, feather-light, but it was enough to send a full-body shiver down my spine. We both froze, staring at our hands. Is this okay? He asked, barely audible. I didn't answer with words. I just let my fingers close around his. His hand was warm, solid, familiar but different. It meant something else now, something bigger. His breath hitched and I watched his throat work as he swallowed. Jesus, he mumbled. This is messing me up. Yeah, I breathed, smiling despite the nerves. Same. Then he did something that completely shattered every assumption I'd ever had about him. He scooted closer, closing the small gap between us on the bed, and rested his forehead against mine. His eyes fluttered shut. His grip on my hand tightened just a little. This feels right, he whispered. Why does this feel so right? I squeezed his hand back, because maybe it is for a second. We just sat there, heads pressed together, breathing each other in. It was the kind of silence that wasn't empty. It was heavy, loaded. My pulse was roaring in my ears. And then he pulled back just enough to look at me. His eyes searched mine like he was looking for permission, or maybe confirmation that he wasn't going crazy. Can I? He started. Then he shook his head, like he was second-guessing himself. Screw it. His hand cupped my cheek, rougher than it needed to be, like he was scared he'd lose his nerve if he hesitated any longer. And then he kissed me. Tyler, my best friend, my straight best friend, kissed me. It wasn't perfect. It was clumsy, a little awkward, his lips unsure, his nose bumping mine. But it was... God, it was everything. My hands flew to his shoulders, holding on because suddenly it felt like the world was tilting under me. He tasted like beer and pizza and salt from the ocean breeze. I felt his fingers tangle awkwardly in my hair, unsure but desperate. After a second, we both pulled back, breathless. Tyler stared at me, wide-eyed. "Holy crap," he muttered. "Holy crap." "Yeah," I echoed. "Holy crap." We sat there for a beat, staring at each other like two idiots who'd just opened Pandora's box. Then he grinned, this goofy, crooked smile I'd seen 1,000 times before, but never quite like this. "So, do we talk about this? Or do it again?" I laughed, half in disbelief, half in sheer adrenaline. I vote? Maybe both?" Tyler nodded, still grinning. Yeah, okay, cool. But the way he leaned in again? Yeah, the talking could wait. The second kiss was different, less tentative, less what the hell are we doing, and more. Okay, this is happening. Tyler's hands found their way to my waist, like his body was remembering how touch worked, even if his brain hadn't caught up yet. I wasn't sure which one of us made the first sound, but somewhere between his lips pressing harder against mine and my fingers threading into his hair, there was a quiet, desperate noise, half gasp, half groan, that left one of us, maybe both. When we finally broke apart, he was breathing fast, chest rising and falling like he'd just finished sprinting. He started, then stopped. He ran a shaky hand through his hair. "Dude, I don't even know what's happening right now." "Yeah," I whispered, still trying to process the fact that Tyler's hands were on me, his thumbs tracing slow, nervous circles against my hips like his body wasn't ready to let go yet. Me neither. But neither of us pulled away. A silence settled over the room, not awkward, not heavy, just full of realization. This wasn't a joke. This wasn't a drunken dare. This wasn't some weird, fleeting curiosity that would disappear by morning. Tyler's fingers tightened slightly on my waist. "Is it bad that I don't want this to stop?" My heart lurched. "No," I breathed. "It's not bad." He let out a shaky laugh. "Man, what the hell is happening? I've never, not with a guy, not even close." "I know," I murmured, letting my hand settle against his jaw. His stubble scratched at my palm in a way that sent an unexpected thrill through me. "I know." For a moment, his eyes dropped, like he was scared or maybe embarrassed, but then they flicked back to mine, full of something that looked dangerously close to want, need, curiosity pushing past the line of no return. He swallowed, then leaned in again, not for another kiss this time, but to rest his forehead against mine. I don't get it," he whispered. "I've been with girls. I know what that's like. But being close to you like this, it doesn't feel weird. It feels right." A smile tugged at my lips. "Yeah, same." His grip shifted, one hand sliding up to my shoulder, the other trailing down toward my thigh like he was figuring out how much was okay. I felt the weight of his palm rest there, warm, hesitant, then firmer. The air between us snapped tight like an overstretched rubber band. "Is this okay?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, pulse hammering. Yeah, it's okay." Tyler exhaled, sharp, relieved, and then shifted even closer, his knee nudging between mine. Suddenly, we weren't sitting next to each other anymore. We were in each other's space, fully, completely, recklessly. His hands roamed a little more now, testing, exploring, Like every inch of me was something new he hadn't realized he'd been curious about until right now. And God, the way his fingertips dragged along the line of my arm, like he couldn't believe this was real, like he couldn't believe he wanted this. It was almost enough to undo me. Then he laughed, a little nervous, a little breathless, as his hand came to rest against my chest. Dude, your heart is going crazy. Yours too, I shot back, grinning. His fingers flexed, like he was grounding himself. Then his expression sobered. Is it okay if... I didn't let him finish the sentence. I closed the distance and kissed him again, harder this time, more certain. And this time, his hands weren't hesitant at all. One slid up to cup the back of my neck, the other anchoring itself on my waist as he kissed me back like he meant it. Like he'd been wanting this longer than either of us had realized. The bed creaked beneath our shifting weight as we tangled together. Knees bumping, hands tugging at fabric, breaths getting shorter, faster. It wasn't just kissing anymore, it was touching. Exploring. A growing, burning ache to figure out where this could go, where we could go. When Tyler's lips trailed down to my jaw, then to the side of my neck, I gasped, half in surprise, half in disbelief that this was real. His stubble scraped against my skin in the best possible way, leaving me dizzy. God, he muttered against my skin. I don't want to stop, but I don't even know what I'm doing. Same, I gasped, fingers clutching at the hem of his shirt. But I think we'll figure it out. His hands slipped beneath my shirt, warm palms against my bare skin, and suddenly it felt like my whole body was on fire. Yeah, he whispered, voice hoarse. Yeah, I really, really want to figure it out. I don't know how it happened exactly. 1 second, Tyler's hands were pressed flat against my skin, rough and unsure but hungry. And the next, our shirts were somewhere on the floor, tossed aside like they didn't matter. It was surreal, seeing him like that. Not just shirtless. I'd seen Tyler shirtless 100 times before. On hikes, at the beach, in locker rooms. But this was different. This wasn't casual. This wasn't innocent. This was intentional. His fingers trailed hesitantly down my chest, like he wasn't sure where to touch, but didn't want to stop. His thumb dragged over my ribcage, and it made me shiver harder than I expected. Dude, he murmured, shaking his head slightly. I raised an eyebrow, breathless. I'm what? His lips curved, crooked and bashful all at once. Just better looking than I realized. A laugh burst out of me, part nerves, part disbelief. You're literally just figuring that out now? I guess, he grinned, biting his lip. Guess I was distracted before. Then, like the switch flipped again, the grin faded, replaced by something softer, more serious. His hand slid up to cradle my jaw, thumb tracing the corner of my mouth. This isn't just messing around for me, he said, voice rough. I don't know what it means yet, but it's not a joke. The knot in my chest loosened. It's not for me either. His thumb brushed my lower lip. Good. And then his mouth was on mine again. Hot, desperate. And sure, there was no hesitation this time. No second guessing. Just us. Moving together like our bodies had been waiting for this, longer than either of us had wanted to admit. He shifted, guiding me back until I was flat against the bed, his weight settling on top of me. Not heavy, not suffocating, just solid. Real. Him. His hands were everywhere, trailing down my sides, gripping my hips, ghosting over skin like he was trying to memorize every inch. Mine weren't any better. I found myself tracing the lines of his back, the dip of his waist, the muscle that flexed under my fingertips every time he shifted. The heat between us was electric, overwhelming. When his lips dragged down to my collarbone, I gasped, fingers clutching his hair, holding him there without even realizing it. He bit down, gentle but firm enough to make me whimper, and then soothed it with a soft kiss. "Is this okay?" he asked, breath ragged against my skin. "Yeah," I managed. "God, yeah," he groaned. This low, shaky sound that felt like it vibrated through both of us. "You have no idea how good that sounds coming from you." I tugged him back up, kissing him again. More desperate now. The tension between us wasn't subtle anymore. It was thick, tangible. Every brush of skin, every tangled limb feeding it until it felt like we'd combust if either of us let go. But it wasn't frantic. It wasn't rushed. It was careful, focused, curious. Tyler's hand slid down, fingers hooking the waistband of my shorts. He paused, lifting his head to look at me, eyes searching. "Can I?" I nodded, voice caught in my throat. Yeah, you can." His hands trembled slightly as he tugged them down, like the reality of what we were doing was finally hitting both of us all at once. His breath hitched when his hands brushed against me. Skin on skin, no barrier left between us. "Holy crap," he whispered, eyes wide, stunned. My face burned. "Yeah, it's a lot," he echoed, nodding dumbly. Then his lips quirked into the smallest grin. "But not bad. Definitely not bad." I laughed, a nervous, giddy sound, and tugged his own waistband in retaliation. "Not getting out of this alone, dude." His grin widened, and within seconds, his shorts joined mine somewhere on the floor, and just like that, there was nothing left between us. No fabric, no excuses, no pretending. Tyler hovered above me, breathing hard, his hand brushing my cheek again, so gentle it nearly broke me. I never thought this would happen," he whispered. "Me neither," I replied, fingers threading through his hair. "But I don't want it to stop." His lips crashed into mine again, hungry, needy, as he murmured against my mouth, "Me neither." At some point, the line between "this is crazy" and "this feels so right" completely disappeared. Tyler was all over me now, his hands mapping out every inch of my body like he'd been holding back for way too long. It was wild, the way he touched me, rough in places, gentle in others, like he was trying to figure out what felt good for both of us. And honestly, the way he fumbled through it only made it hotter. "God," he breathed, pulling back just enough to look at me. His hair was a mess, his lips swollen, pupils blown wide. Why does this feel so easy?" I laughed, breathless. "Because you've always liked me, idiot. You just didn't realize it." His grin flickered, and then, unexpectedly, his face softened. Yeah, maybe." There was a pause, where we just stared at each other, both of us letting the weight of that sink in. No more pretending. No more brushing things off as jokes. Then his fingers trailed down my chest again, more deliberate this time. "Tell me if anything feels weird or too much, okay?" "Same to you," I replied, tracing the line of his jaw. "I don't want to screw this up." "You won't," he whispered. We moved together, slowly at first, testing boundaries neither of us had ever explored before. The clumsiness gave way to curiosity, and then to something more fluid, more natural. Touch became instinct. Breath synced. Skin on skin, nerves lighting up like fireworks. Tyler pressed his forehead against mine, whispering a soft, "God, you're really driving me crazy," as his fingers tightened on my hips. "Yeah?" I smirked, brushing my thumb over his bottom lip. "Welcome to my life," he laughed, a real full laugh that made my chest tighten with something way scarier than lust. I cared about him. God, I really, really cared about him. And it hit me hard that if this went sideways, if this broke, I wouldn't just lose whatever this was. I'd lose my best friend. My thumb hovered over his lip for a second longer. "Ty, are you sure?" His expression shifted instantly, less playful now. "Serious. Steady. His hand came up, cupping the side of my face. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know what it means, but I'm not backing out. I nodded, throat tight. Okay, me neither. The tension simmered, heavy and charged, but softer now. Tyler leaned in again, kissing me, slower this time, like he was memorizing it, like he didn't want to forget how this felt. His lips traced along my jaw, then down to my neck, leaving a trail of heat in their wake. His hand slid lower again, skimming my waist, then my thighs, like he was still figuring out how far he could go. I gasped when his fingers squeezed, firmer now, like he finally stopped second-guessing himself. Is this okay? He murmured against my skin. Yeah, I panted. God, yeah. His mouth found its way back to mine, and this time, the kiss deepened, hungrier, messier. Our hands tangled, hips shifted. The weight of him pressed flush against me now, and I felt it, the undeniable proof that this wasn't some casual experiment for him. He wanted this. Badly. When we finally pulled apart, gasping, he pressed his forehead back to mine. You're gonna ruin me, dude, he whispered, breathless. I grinned, running a hand through his hair. You say that like it's a bad thing, he laughed, shaking his head. Not bad, just terrifying, but also kind of perfect? Yeah, I agreed softly. Kind of perfect. We lay there tangled together, hands still roaming but slower now, trading heated kisses and quiet laughter. Every now and then, Tyler would pause, brush his thumb over my cheek, and just look at me. Not like a friend, not like a curiosity, like someone who suddenly realized they'd been searching for something without knowing it, and maybe just found it. I don't know how long we stayed like that. Tangled up, skin against skin, lips finding each other every few minutes like we couldn't help ourselves. The adrenaline had faded into something softer now, something calmer. But the way Tyler held me, that wasn't casual, it wasn't temporary, it felt like he never wanted to let go. Eventually, we slowed, breathing evening out, touches becoming lazier, more like grounding than exploring. His fingers traced random shapes on my back while my hand rested against his chest, feeling the steady thump of his heart. Dude, he mumbled into my hair. This is insane. Yeah, I laughed against his collarbone. Tell me about it. A long pause, then quieter. But it feels good, like, right. My fingers skimmed up his side, and I nodded. Yeah, same. Another pause. Then, like he couldn't help himself, Tyler pressed a kiss to my forehead. Soft, thoughtful, intimate in a way that nearly undid me more than anything else had tonight. Never thought I'd be the guy doing this, he chuckled, but his voice was gentle, not mocking. Yeah, well, welcome to the dark side, I teased, squeezing his waist. He laughed, a full, genuine laugh, and then pulled me tighter against him. You're not getting rid of me now. You know that, right? My chest tightened. Yeah, I know. It was stupid how natural this felt. How we shifted from best friends to whatever this was. Like it wasn't some earth-shattering change. Somewhere between the soft hum of the motel's broken AC and the distant crash of waves outside, Tyler yawned, long, deep, contagious. God, I'm wiped. Yeah, me too, I murmured, tracing lazy circles on his chest. He adjusted, tugging the thin sheet up over us and pulling me fully against his side like it was the most natural thing in the world. Just stay like this, he whispered. Okay? I didn't hesitate. Yeah, okay. His breathing slowed, got heavier. He was out within minutes, his arms still wrapped around me, his chest rising and falling against my cheek. I lay there for a while, listening to it, letting it sink in. This actually happened. Tyler, my best friend, straight Tyler, had kissed me, touched me, held me like I was something precious, And now he was passed out next to me like it was the most normal thing in the world. And God, if it wasn't for the fact that my heart was still hammering, I would have thought it was a dream. But it wasn't. When I finally drifted off, wrapped in the warmth of him, it was the best sleep I'd had in months. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the half-closed blinds, cutting harsh lines across the motel bed. For a minute, I didn't move, didn't open my eyes, just existed in that floaty, half-awake state where everything feels soft and surreal. Then, I became very aware of the fact that there was a warm body pressed up against me, an arm slung casually over my waist, breath brushing the back of my neck. Oh, right. Tyler. I shifted slightly, just enough to glance over my shoulder. He was still asleep, face relaxed, mouth slightly open, hair a total mess. And he looked weirdly peaceful, happy even. I couldn't help it. I smiled, but as soon as I tried to carefully move, his arm tightened, pulling me back against him. "Nope," he mumbled, voice hoarse and groggy. "Not yet." "You're awake," I whispered, both amused and nervous. "Yeah," he sighed, nuzzling into my shoulder. "Didn't want to open my eyes yet. Kinda hoped if I kept them shut, this wouldn't turn out to be a dream." A laugh escaped me. Half breath, half disbelief. "It's not good." His grip tightened again. I don't want it to be." We lay there for a long moment, quiet, heavy with the realization that whatever last night was, it wasn't something either of us could pretend didn't happen. Eventually, Tyler sighed again and finally pulled back enough to look at me. His eyes were clearer now, still tired but full of something I couldn't quite name. "Hey," he said, almost shy. "Hey." His thumb brushed my cheek. "So, what now?" I blinked. I don't know." A smile tugged at his lips. "Want to figure it out? Together?" My throat tightened. Yeah, I do." "Okay," Tyler said quietly, his thumb still brushing my cheek like he wasn't ready to let go. "So, we're really doing this?" I nodded, heart pounding. "Yeah, looks like it." A crooked grin pulled at his lips. "Didn't think our road trip would turn into this." "Me neither," I laughed softly, pretty sure this wasn't on the itinerary. Tyler let out a breathy laugh, leaning his forehead against mine. "Dude, what even are we now?" I bit my lip, eyes searching his. "I mean, I don't think we have to figure it all out right now." "Yeah," he agreed, "but like, are we friends who made out? Or more?" The way he said more sent a shiver through me. I felt his fingers slip down to my waist again, his grip gentle but firm, grounding. "Do you want it to be more?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. His brows furrowed for a second, like he was really thinking about it. Then, without looking away, he nodded. "Yeah, I do," I blinked. "Yeah?" "Yeah," he repeated, softer now. "I don't know what that means yet. Don't know how this fits into everything. But I don't want this to be just a one-time thing." The tightness in my chest let go, replaced with this terrifying, exhilarating lightness. "I don't either." His hand slid up, cupping the back of my neck. Cool. "No pressure then." His grin turned teasing. "We can just keep testing if this feels right." "Oh, for science?" I smirked. "Yeah," he chuckled, "purely experimental." His lips brushed mine again. Soft, slow, but still enough to make my toes curl. "Yup," he murmured against my mouth. "Definitely, still feels right." We kissed again, and at some point, the sheet slipped down enough that neither of us cared how much of each other we were touching. There was a hunger there. Sure, but it was wrapped in something softer, something safe. His hand slid down my side. "Dude, I can't believe it took me this long to figure this out. I chuckled, fingers threading into his messy hair. Yeah, well, better late than never. Tyler pulled back just enough to look at me seriously. For real though, I've never felt like this with anyone before. Not with any girl, not ever. The sincerity in his voice hit me square in the chest. Me neither. He smiled again, this lazy, sweet smile that was way too disarming for my own good. You're stuck with me now. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Later that morning, eventually, hunger won out over hormones. Tyler dragged himself out of bed first, pulling on his boxers and stretching in that ridiculously hot way he always did, except now it wasn't something I had to secretly glance at. Now I could look. Freely, I sat up, admiring the view without any shame. Dude, he laughed, catching me staring. You checking me out? Yeah, obviously. He grinned, tossing a pillow at me. Creep. You're creep. I shot back, throwing it right back. His face softened at that. Eyes holding mine a second longer than they probably needed to. Yeah, guess you are. We got dressed, laughing and nudging each other like idiots the whole time. But every now and then, we'd pause, hands brushing, eyes catching, and the weight of it would settle again. This was real. We walked down the street to a little diner for breakfast, side by side like we always did. Except, Tyler's fingers kept brushing against mine, testing, teasing, and halfway through the walk, he finally just grabbed my hand. Casually, like it was no big deal. I glanced over, expecting nerves or hesitation, but all I saw was Tyler, smiling. Sure. Is this okay? He asked, squeezing my hand. I squeezed back. Yeah, it's perfect. As we sat in that tiny diner, sharing pancakes, stealing glances, nudging knees under the table, it hit me. This wasn't just a road trip anymore. This was the beginning of something. Something that neither of us wanted to end.